Hello people, Soulsborne Fanatic here. Today we're doing a boss music tier list because someone in the comment section said I should do one and I thought, hey, that's a great idea. So, thank you for that. In no way am I an expert on music, but rest assured I will only provide expert opinions that are 100% factually correct. Guaranteed. So I chose Elden Ring for the tier list today. I'm only going to be doing bosses, as I said. Maybe another time I'll do just regular music, like stuff that plays in Limgrave or Kaled. So let's just get it started. Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. To save a lot of time, I'm only going to listen to about like 30 seconds, maybe even less. So without further ado. So Godfrey is the third final boss of the game, and you can feel the absolute presence of coming toe-to-toe with the first Elden Lord, just from the first 10 seconds alone. Let's go ahead and listen to the second phase now. So Godfrey's second phase starts off with him trying to grab you and slam you like a WWE wrestler, and the second phase is very wild, very animal. You can just feel he's no longer the noble warrior that he was before, and has became Horaloo. So this one might be tough to rank, honestly, because there's just so many good boss tracks that, honestly, all of these might just be S. I don't know though. I think Godfrey, probably an A tier. I don't know if I'd put it quite at S tier. Don't get me wrong, it's really good, but I feel like there's better songs. This is strictly coming down to preference. I like this song and all, but there's ones that I like better. So up next is Astel, Naturalborn of the Void. So Astel is an interesting one. It comes off very mythical, kind of like a boss that you'd expect from Bloodborne or something. I think it's a decent enough track. It's really fits with the otherworldly presence that you'd see fighting this guy, because the name and the design of him is just insane. It lacks the impact and the presence of other bosses because they only appear like once. Astel, I don't think there's any real bosses that would be in C or D tier, music-wise. I think they're all really good. Up next is Ancient Dragon Lansseax. So this appears to be a remix of the other dragon boss fight musics that you hear throughout the game, of Agil and the Frost and Rotworn. I don't remember the names exactly. Decent enough. It's not necessarily bad, but I think the other ones, dragon ones, especially the one that will come soon afterwards, is much better. I think it's fair to put it at B tier. Not necessarily the greatest track. I think maybe it's C tier would be more fitting, because it's not an original one. It's kind of just a remix, and I don't particularly like the boss fight either. One of the more annoying dragon fights. Up next is my favorite dragon boss fight. I don't even have to listen to it to know it's an S tier easily. Just listen to this. It immediately starts off very powerful, very impactful, like the dragon was in his prime. Really imbues the sense of tragedy, despair, and hopelessness that you feel from him because of what happened to him with the Radagon. He was best friends with Godrick the Golden, and if you know what happened to him, he had a terrible fate as well. Now let's go on to phase 2, where it truly shines. Feel the sadness and the tragedy, just knowing just how powerful this dragon was, and you're only facing him at a fraction of his power. Kind of like, for Fortissax, but I think this is overall a much better track and a much better fight in general. But just wait until this part. This is where the top peaks. Oh man, you just had to be there. You just have to do this fight. This is easily the best they've ever done with a dragon. Placidusax, who cares about that? Has been. Lichdragon Fortissax, that's where it is, baby. S tier, easily. All day, every day, I'm biased. I don't care. So up next is Morgott, the Omen King, which is the second time you fight Morgott. And let's give this a listen. Morgott is an interesting case. He is the last king, Bended Blendell. You can really just feel the tragedy of this boss fight throughout his dialogue, movements. Even if you read his item descriptions after the boss fight, he loved the Erdtree, but the Erdtree rejected him because he was an Omen. Morgott was doing everything in his power to protect the Erdtree and Blendell, and very tragic story. I think it's definitely fitting to put son with father. I think Morgott is right there next to Godfrey. Up next is Lord Apparition. Don't recognize it by the name, but I guarantee you I will as soon as I hear it. Should have known that this was the first Elden Lord. This is the fight that you fight before Godfrey. It's him in his ghostly form or whatever. I don't really know necessarily, it's weird, but it basically just gives you a teaser into the true fight. Really unnecessary, this fight is. The song, it's good. Not as good as the one that you hear when you actually fight his physical form, but it's alright. I think it would be fair to put it probably in C tier as well. It's basically just a teaser, not the full song. So that C tier doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or anything. It just means that it's okay. So up next is Omen Illusion, and I have a feeling that this is just Margit. Well, I don't know if I'm stupid or blind. Perhaps both. Margit is right above this, and this is his brother, likes his relative Miquella, likes kidnapping little Miquella. Mohg, Mohg Moment. I love Mohg's track. It is amazing, and this is basically just the song about the satisfactory parts. Feels uncomfortable about those extra parts because I'm used to hearing that. But it's a good, really good. I like this one. I think Mohg's is so good, even though it's not the full song, it's still worthy of a B tier. And that might be a little controversial. Dragonlord Placidusax is up next. So yeah, surprise, surprise, Placidusax music is better than the boss fight. The boss fight is bad, but he just kind of like stands there. Moves where he teleports is really cool though. That's why I put it in A tier, the boss tier list, because of that move, the move where it's kind of like the deer and he shoots the giant death laser. His two heads. That was really fucking cool. But yeah, it's a good try. So I don't know if this is widely known or anything, but the Placidusax used to be the Elden Lord for the primordial form of the Erdtree. A little bit of lore there. You see it in Crumbling Faro Missoula, an old version of the Erdtree, before the Age of the Golden Order. I think it's good. I'd put it in I'd probably put it in B tier. This might make some people upset. I just prefer the other ones. I don't know if I'm necessarily sure on that one. I might change it later. Regal Ancestor Spirit, probably an S tier. It's completely different from what you'd expect from Souls music. I don't know if I put it at S or A tier. Probably A tier. And not quite S tier. But it's very different type of what you'd expect. Sounds Celtic, very soothing, very peaceful. A little bit in the later half sounds like reminds me of some music from like the menu, or maybe it was like the created character from Dark Souls. Very peaceful song. I think A tier is very fair because it's just so unique, and I think the newcomer on the composers, someone who's just now started making music for Souls, composed that one, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Alright, up next, Erdtree Avatar. The Erdtree Avatar is a very interesting one. It's a world boss that you see many times. The Erdtree Avatars were birds from the Shattering, from the Erdtree. Basically, the little miniature Erdtrees are saplings, life that has been given from the Erdtree. And essentially, the Erdtree Avatars are trying to protect them. Very holy songs in a sense. Might grow to be quite annoying after a while. Good, but gets kind of repetitive. I think I'd probably put it in C tier. Moving on to Starscourge Radahn. He is the boss, one of the bosses in Elden Ring. Let's give it a listen. Very intense. Very, sounds like soldiers marching. Some parts of the song sounds fitting of a warrior such as Starscourge Radahn, one of the strongest demigods. I think I'd put Starscourge Radahn at a very high B tier, almost A tier. And that might be a bit controversial, but it's okay. It's not anything that I really enjoy listening to often. It's that it really fits within them. Up next is the best boss in the game and the best song in the game, Malenia, Blade of Miquella. I'm sure absolutely everyone and their mother is familiar with this song. Fun fact, they used this for Morgott in the network test last year for some reason. This song is kind of disturbing, unnerving, creepy even, with Malenia being the rock goddess and stuff. It sounds very godly and kind of unnerving, as I've already said, I believe. Malenia is very tragic. She's her body's, as she said in the beginning dialogue, dull gold, body's rotten. She's blind, but apparently she was trained by a blind swordsman, so that's how she knows where you are at all times, I guess. But you can even see it when you're fighting her, when she does those slow turnarounds. She's blind. She's not too sure where you are. And this is a weakened version of Malenia, so she wasn't always blind, right? So I can only imagine fighting her at full strength would be like what Radahn thought was her at full strength, I believe. The second phase transition is absolutely beautiful, with Latin that means nothing. Players have translated it and given it meaning, I guess. It seems to be random conjunctions of Latin phrases and stuff. But very interesting. Easily the best, one of the best. Poor Malenia. So I don't see any argument that you can make to say it's not S tier. It's amazing, even if you're going to hear it a lot. Never really got old for me. Up next is Godrick the Grafted. Very interesting. This is the second main boss that you mandatory have to fight in the game. And I would say this is probably A tier as well. Godrick, he is the first demigod that you fight and has one of the most disturbing songs. One of the most disturbing tracks in the entire game. I think it's a 7-beat measure, which is unusual. This track in particular does something that Bloodborne tracks do pretty often. I believe clusters is what that is. The second phase transition was one of the most iconic moments from Elden Ring, where he grafts the dragon onto his arm and the music perfectly in sync with it. Really fits the character. Person who chops body parts off. They grabs them. I don't know necessarily where I want to put Godrick. It's between A and S. I don't know if he's quite at S. I'll have to think about that later on. Devouring Serpent is up next. So prior to rank card, the Lord of Blasphemy once had a noble idea of tree and free themselves from their control, but he became obsessed with this and it degenerated into feeding himself to a serpent so he could become devouring, as he says, devouring gods. Just like all the other demigods, another story. Becoming obsessed with power. Devouring Serpent is not something I listen to too often. Compared to the other ones I've listened to like 10 times more. I think it would be fair to put it with Starscourge Radahn. Moving on to Rennala, Queen of the Fulton. So Renala's piece is a very somber, sad, emotional piece. Makes me think I'm playing Breath of the Wild or something. It's pretty depressing. She got her heart broken by not just anyone, Radagon of the Chad Order. He absolutely broke her heart, and he went to go marry himself, which wasn't himself, just herself, and Elden Ring. Yeah. I think it'd be fair to put her at a high B tier. I don't really know if these are A tier or B tier. I think if these are B tier, there's a high B tier. Fire Giant, I hate this boss. Fire Giant, also another depressing piece. Pretty common in this game. Giant War, Shattering Caverns. Even before that, giant fire giants. Not just fire giants, the giants. They were genocided by Margit, the Golden Order. So obviously it's going to be depressing. Very depressing song. I think this shines in the second phase. I like the second phase much more than the first phase. I think it's probably an A tier, honestly, which is funny because I don't like the boss at all, but the music is really good. I genuinely think it's better than all of these right here. So, moving on to Godskin Apostles. This song is so overrated. I don't understand why people rate this one so high. They're like, yeah, it's good, but I think it's a low B tier. I don't even think it's as good as Omen Illusion. Violent Holy Song. Godskin Apostles, they killed gods. Their black flames the other way. Blah blah blah. Who really cares? I don't care. They're not that cool. I think there's way cooler ones in the game. And this song, you only hear part of it with the Godskin Apostle and the Godskin Noble. You hear the rest of it with the Godskin Nobles. It's alright. My god, there is still so many left. Moving on, Black Knives. I don't remember what this one sounds like, so we'll give it a listen. Knights of the Black Knives, they are the sole reason for the shattering, pretty much. Ronnie assisted as well, she's just as much to blame. Pretty evil. They did it so they wouldn't be a successor to Margit. I don't necessarily remember the reason why they killed Godwin, but I know that Ronnie killed herself, so she wouldn't be possessed by the Greater One. Black Knives, I think it's pretty good. Honestly, it's better than some of the main bosses. That might trigger some people. I'm gonna put it probably in the middle of B tier. I think that's a very fair placement. Moving on to Mohg, Lord of Blood. Easily S tier. So Mohg, Lord of Blood, the first phase that you hear sounds like the second phase, and the second phase music sounds like the third phase, which I guess it sort of is because you have the one that Mohg and the sewers, so it might as well be the second, third phase. The first phase is intellectual evil. You can just fear the malevolence in this track, and you can even see it on the character design. He looks like Satan. He is pure evil. This man, not even a man. That's the devil right there. I can sit here and listen to the whole song on repeat, discuss lore in depth on this guy, but I don't have enough time for that, sadly. So I'm just gonna talk about the second phase and call it for that. So in the second phase, he gets more emotional, he gets more angry because you're beating his ass, and he wants to be alone with Miquella and offer some blood. You're getting in the way of that. He doesn't really appreciate it. Mohg is not deluded or anything. I mean, maybe he is, but I feel like I genuinely think that he believes, he knows what he's doing is evil, but he doesn't care. He embodies a pure supervillain. He is evil incarnate. I can't overstate this enough. Mohg, S tier boss fight, S tier music, straight banger. And he starts speaking Latin during the boss fight. So is the song. That's just cool. Up next is Beast Clergyman, which is just Maliketh's first phase. Let's give it a listen. So Maliketh, or Beast Clergyman, whichever you're gonna call it. He is Mariketh's shadow, if you guys didn't know already. He had the root of death. It was unbalanced when the Black Knight, I don't think it was the Knight of the Black Knights. I don't know if it was the same Knight or whatever, but they stole it from him, the root of death. And he was confused and all that stuff, and he sealed it into him so it can be stole again. But the second phase, he unbounds it. And the song is really sad and fits his character of being the shadow of Margit. The beginning part of this song is what plays in Crumbling Crown Missoula and holds up. I think it would be fair to put the Beast Clergyman Maliketh B tier as well. I think it'd be fair to move that up a little bit. So, the final battle. The final battle is what plays when you fight the final boss of Elden Ring, Radagon of the Golden Order, S tier. Easily S tier. They reused the main theme, and it slaps. It absolutely slaps. It is so climactic, keeps the energy, and it's just fucking intense. The pose that Radagon hits, fucking iconic. The music is very heroic, very excited. You've been anticipating this moment from the very second that you stepped into the next tree. It's playing this song that sounds extremely heroic, as I said. Is it for Radagon, or is it for you, the Tarnished? That's for you to decide. So the cutscene that you see before the music starts playing, you see Margit, dummy thick Margit. She transforms into Radagon, and that's when it's revealed. You can see before that Radagon is Margit, but that gives you the confirmation that they are indeed one and the same. It's crazy because I rated the Dragon one lower because it was a remix, but I genuinely, I see those as two completely different remixes, in my opinion. It feels like a completely different song, which, I mean, the other one is, but this one sounds way, way, way better. And just the significance behind the encounter and the music, it's just awesome, fucking awesome. So as soon as it transforms, it starts playing the piano that you hear at the beginning of the Elden Ring title thing. The second phase takes a different shift in the boss fight and the music. Otherworldly, godly being, you're fighting the Elden Beast, which is the physical embodiment of the greater world, and the music is absolutely enchanting. It's truly a spectacle. It's something that you've never seen before, for sure. You're now fighting God, and the most heavenly music possible is playing. It's very fitting, very climactic. Overall, just amazing. It's extremely beautiful, the Elden Beast and the music. It really all just fits nice together. So yeah, the boss fight ain't that great, but we're not really discussing that. We're discussing the music and the aesthetics, of course. There's no way, in no physical realm, even where the outer gods are, that you're not putting that in S tier, easily. Moving on to Margit the Fell Omen. So this is another case of the preview. It's good. It's not as good as the finale. I already put Morgott at like A tier, whatever. This is B tier. It's good. Somewhere in the middle is fair. Formidable Foe 1. I can't recall this one from the top of my head, so I wonder how this sounds. So this is a song that plays in some of the side dungeons for some of the bosses. I think it plays for all of them actually. That doesn't really matter. It's not bad or anything. It just comes off as generic compared to the other bosses, which is maybe insulting, I guess. But like I don't mean it in a weird way. It's just that they did a good job on this, but it's not nearly as impactful, obviously, as the other bosses one. So put that down with C tier. I think that's alright. Falling Star Beast it is. This is the song that plays for that beast on Mount Kelmar. You fight this thing like 3 times, I believe. Feels like it's Fred, I guess. Reminds me of Astel. Does the gravity shit. The music's kind of similar, I guess. It's alright. So I think I'll put that in C tier as well. Red Wolf of Radagon. So this is a pretty hype track. It's better than the boss fight. Radagon's dog goes. Yeah, he knows. Alright. That's all I can really say about this track. I don't really know what to say. Sounds good. Not as good as the others. Yeah, I think it would be very, very fair to put this in C tier. Formidable Foe 2. It's just Formidable Foe again, but maybe with some extra bits added to it. Sounds alright. So moving on to Old Warriors. So Old Warriors is what plays for the Misbegotten Warriors, and you know, this is actually pretty good. I like this one better than the other generic music. I don't really know what else to refer to it to. It plays for some of the world bosses. It's not necessarily named for not very unique, I guess, but yeah, it sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty evil. That might even be a B tier, but I'm gonna put it at a high C tier. Up next, Erdtree Knights. So Erdtree Knights is one that I'm very familiar with because it's in the game like 5 times. And I tried to fight the Erdtree Knights when I first got Elden Ring like 50 times at level 1. And not necessarily level 1, but you know what I mean. it's good, I like it. It really is really imposing. Should tell you to get out, but I didn't get the message apparently, and I kept on fighting it, and eventually I beat it. So you know, there's that. Really good track, fits with the Erdtree Knights on being assholes. So up next is Fallen Knights. The Immune, the Accursed, Grave Wardens, Death King Druids, and Dragon. So this is all just a regular generic music. I can just name this without even having to listen to this. Fallen Knights, C tier, Immune, C tier, C tier, C tier, C tier, C tier. Yeah, that's about it. See ya.